All right, what time is it? It is MLS Fantasy Time. We're back at it, week 7. My name is Cooper. I'm still recovering from a surgery, but am filling up to making a video. This is my first time doing a tier list ever, but we'll get into it in a moment. First, I want to go ahead and take a look back at what happened for me last week. My team is Pancake FC, named after my dog, of course. She's over there having a rest on the beanbag. The itinerary for today is a review of last week, the tier list, and then I will tentatively make my team for this week. So looking back, oh my gosh, save my team. Ugh. Always hit save, even when you autofill. Okay, last week, had my best week of the season by far, best week in a very, very, very long time, maybe ever. I definitely have not had a week rank this high. I think last year I had 14 or something like that once. So this was pretty good. It's funny. Obviously, I got pretty much all the points, the big points from Captain and Christian Arango. Chicho, big week for him. At halftime, I think I put in Discord that I was very disappointed with the situation. So that was pretty funny. Very happy with the decision. Pretty much throughout the rest of my team. A lot of stuff also went my way. Kai Wagner was a great pick. Brooks Lennon was a great pick. McCarthy got the points there on the second goalkeeper, which was great. Ryan Gauld kind of just randomly fell into my team. I remember I had to scrub Evander. It's because I got Acosta. It's probably my biggest mistake of the week was rolling with Acosta on the bench. I don't remember how I had the money for it, but I just kind of I don't know. I think I just did it kind of because I could, but that kind of hamstrung me when he didn't hit. So I had to scrub or drop Evander, and then I think I did that for Gauld. They got similar points, so it didn't really make too much of a difference. But good for Gauld. Finally got some good fantasy points. Thiago Almada didn't do much. I didn't have him captain, so it didn't make too much of a difference for me. Ricky Booch got the 5. Benteke got the 5. Gigi got his goal, got 9 points. And then Gavron didn't quite hit. Shaquille Marshall-Reddy got lucky with the assist to save the 5. And then Aaron Herrera, probably my biggest, aside from my captaincy, my biggest swing of the week was taking Aaron Herrera as a defensive differential. He didn't get the offensive contributions I was looking for, but he did get the clean sheet. So I got the full 8 points for him, so that was great. That is how I did last week. Very happy with it. Let's go ahead and go over to the tier list. So these are the tiers that I've made. We've got S tier, best of the best, good option, fun punt, budget friendly, and steer clear. So I've got, I think, 8 goalkeepers, 10 or 15 defenders, 10 or 15 midfielders, 10 or 15 attackers. We'll do the goalkeepers first. So I've got Christian Kalina. I think he's a fun punt. You shouldn't really hedge your bets on taking away keepers. Give me 1 second. I'm going to readjust the microphone so that it's facing me more. You should not really hedge your bet on away keepers ever. But the way that this week sets up, since like all the games are coming more or less at the same time, you can kind of play around with making some more wild card picks. This is a good week to punt on stuff, I think, because you can always just fall back on these two late games, especially defensively, since Seattle have the best clean sheet odds. SKC have a chance. Mainly probably Seattle, maybe even Montreal to an extent, have a clean sheet shot. But you can take some punts, I think, especially on defenders and keepers, since you could probably just always fall back on, Seattle. So I think Kalina's a fun punt. New England have been terrible. They got thrashed in CCL in the midweek. Caleb Porter said today in an interview that he promised a win for New England this weekend. Dean Smith said he should not make promises that he can't keep. I don't think they'll win the game. Will they score a goal? I think maybe. Maybe not. Charlotte are a good defensive team. They actually have... offensively, they haven't been great, but they do post a pretty good XG, so maybe that will improve. But I think Kalina is a fun punt this week. I think he's about 7 million. Not too bad at this point. I've got Guzan. I think he's also a fun punt. Clean sheets at Yankee Stadium are hard to find sometimes because mainly I think the field is so small that the ball can find the final third of either goal pretty quickly. But they're playing at a different stadium, normal size field for this weekend. I think it's like City Park. I am workshopping a theory that Atlanta are the best team in the league when healthy. They have been all around very, very good. Defensively as well. Again, you shouldn't hedge your bet on away keepers, and Georgios Giacomakis is not going to play this weekend. I do actually think that makes a difference for the team defensively. He's just, for the other team, one less thing you have to worry about. But I do still think Guzan's a fun punt. He's a little bit more on the pricey side at $8 million, but New York's offense has not been good. Their XG is very poor. Do they score a goal in that game? Maybe. Probably more likely yes than no. But if you want to take a shot at something, I think Guzan. You could do a lot worse. Roman Berkey, also fun punt. He will come up again later in this video when we get more to my team. FC Dallas have been really, really poor on both ends of the field so far this year. That is in part due to the injury to Jesus Ferreira, but Ferreira is not going to play this weekend. St. Louis is a very difficult place to go to play. I think Dallas have a very difficult chance scoring against St. Louis, even though their defense hasn't been great. I think FC Dallas have maybe it's either bottom three or straight up the lowest XG in the league right now. It's one or the other. They have not been good. Not been good. I think Berkey is a fair punt. Stefan Frey is going to go in S tier. As far as where did he go? Okay, he's vanished from my screen. But if I could put him here, I would put him in S tier. As far as Stefan Frey goes, I mean, oh, here he is. I see him. Haha. Okay. I mean, Seattle just have the best clean sheet odds. He's their goalkeeper. I don't think there's much else to say about it. Takaoka, I think, is a good option. He maybe is borderline S tier. A lot of people are hedging their bets on a Vancouver clean sheet this weekend. They are playing Toronto. Toronto are down in Insigne. Their offense is not very good anyway. Vancouver seem like a team that should be very good defensively, but really they haven't been. Their XG allowed is not bad at all, but they do just find a way to concede. Maybe bad luck. Maybe that starts to turn around this weekend. People who take Vancouver players surely will be hoping for that. I think he's a good option. Not quite S tier, but close. Roman Celentano is hurt this weekend, so Alec Kahn is going to be playing for Cincinnati. They have, I think, probably the best defense in the league. They have a home game against the Red Bulls. The Red Bulls, despite putting up a lot of goals, if you look at the advanced stats, their offensive advanced stats aren't great. So I think Alec Kahn is a fair option to take this weekend. I'm probably going to put him just in budget friendly. I think a lot of these punts are better options. I think that these good options, S tier options, are also probably better. But budget options, Alec Kahn is pretty fair. Brad Stuver, I think it's a fun punt. I almost want to put him in good option because San Jose's offense is so poor. But I think he's probably going to just go into fun punt. I don't know why it took some of the players and took away their first names but left the last names. Whatever. Brad Stuver, fun punt. You probably shouldn't bet on Austin's defense. They did shut out Seattle that one time, but that probably isn't saying much. Advanced stats, they're just about as bad as it gets. But hey, you never know. Tim Melia, I think, is a very good option this week. I know Portland are kind of scary, but, you know, as far as fallback keepers go, your options are basically Stefan Frey, Tim Melia, what's his name, Sirois, and Crepeau. As far as, you know, Frey's a great option. Besides Frey, I think the best you're going to do is Tim Melia. I think it's a good pick. Good pick if you do it. Hugo Lloris, I just threw in here just to pop him way down here into steer clear. Just to say, don't take any defenders in El Tráfico this weekend. Don't do it. There are always goals in that fixture. You should not take rivalry game defenders anyway, but steer clear of Hugo Lloris. Don't do it. All right, on to defenders. Brooks Lennon is in between good option and S tier, I think. I think my brain would say good option. My heart says S tier. As far as bonus points go, plus attacking potential, Brooks Lennon is as good as it gets. As good as it gets. His BPs are great. You also have the attacking potential. It isn't going to be quite as good as usual because there's no GG getting on the end of those crosses, but he did have the assist to Tiare against Chicago. In the game where Atlanta played Toronto, without GG, Lennon still posted a 5 without a clean sheet. He's a great pick. I think he may be. We'll see how Wagner does this weekend, but I think Lennon may be the only ride or die defender for me at this point. I'm just going to take him every week. Alex Roldan, I think, is an S tier option. We'll see if he plays again in the midfield or on the wing, or if he just starts in the defense. Either way, his BPs are great. Very good clean sheet chance. Very good option. Jake Davis, I think, is a good option. Portland's offense is scary, but don't forget, Houston did manage to blank them a couple weeks ago. I know Houston have a good defense, but Portland really struggled to threaten for the second half of that game, I guess. And Jake Davis has great BPs. Great bonus points for Davis. I think he's a good option. Thomas Totland is maybe one of my more wild card shouts for the week. I think he's a fun punt. He's also 5.8. I mean, maybe even makes more sense to be put in budget friendly. He's a great price. His BPs at the beginning of the year were great. I've actually wanted to take him before. But recently they have dropped off a little bit. Carnell's doing some kind of funky things for the team. Last week, he did sub Totland in the 60th minute. That didn't really work, but I think he's in between. He's a budget-friendly punt, depending on how low you rate the FC Dallas offense. Jordi Alba, I think, is a trap. I should have just changed. I've got this as steer clear, but if I could rename this category, add another one, I would probably put like trap. Actually, Jordi Alba, maybe as far as trap players go, or players who are maybe steer clear. Inter Miami players this week, I think you should avoid. I know they're at home. Colorado are at best figuring it out, despite the big win against LAFC last week. I do think that there's a world where Colorado start to put it together, and in like a month or two are actually a top 4 to 5 team in their conference. But Jordi Alba played a lot of minutes against Monterrey. That was a pretty intense game, surely physically and mentally. I would steer clear. I don't think his BPs are also as good as you would think they would be. So I would say, you know. I mean, if you want to pawn him, sure, but he's also kind of expensive. I probably wouldn't. Julian Gressel is like the definition of trap player for me. His minutes are bad. He played 90 against Monterrey. He's played 90 once or twice in CCL before, but he's not played 90 in a single game in Major League Soccer yet this year. A lot of those games, I don't really think for a good reason. Now there is a reason. He went the full 90. I mean, I don't think Tata likes Julian Gressel all that much. I'm not sure why, or if that theory is really substantiated in any way, but I wouldn't do Gressel. I know he's a little tempting this week. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Kai Wagner, I also think maybe I'm going to put him in If he kills it and gets a bunch of BPs this week, then he's probably going to be, he's getting close to Brooks Lennon territory. As in, you know, ride or die every week, no matter what. Nashville do have at least usually a good defense, a good home defense. They have struggled some at the start of this year, but Nashville at home still is a scary prospect. I don't really know if this Philly team is back yet, like a lot of people think they are. I would maybe wait a week. If you want to pound Wagner, sure, but I don't know if I would quite call it a good fun punt, but we'll see. I'm avoiding him. I'll tell you, I'm avoiding him. Renko Veselinovic is, I think, a good option. Vancouver defenders are fair picks this weekend. If you're really betting against Toronto's offense, which is a fair bet. He, as far as the defenders go, has the best BPs. He's ahead of, who is it? It's not, is it Waterman? Or does Waterman play for Montreal? Waterman plays for Montreal. It's Blackman. Blackman's close. I think he's only like 0.1 cheaper than Veselinovic. So Veselinovic, I think, as far as Vancouver defenders go, is the best you can do. I think Ryan Raposo is a trap. Just pretend this category says trap. I think he's a trap this week. For one thing, if he doesn't start, which is a possibility, don't take him. Vancouver use their wingbacks more than any other team in Major League Soccer. They play at times exclusively with the aim of getting the ball to their wingbacks to play like a cross in, or advance the ball up the field. Despite that, Raposo's bonus points are almost non-existent. I don't think there's like anything there. I'll pull it up right now, if it'll let me. So, let's see. Oh my gosh, that's giving me a hard time. Okay, so you wouldn't think it, but he is weirdly goal and or assist dependent. He has gotten, I think, 2 or 3 goal contributions so far this year. Um, 2 goals, 1 assist. But if you go over here to the BPs, not a single bonus point, not one. So unless you think he is for sure going to score or assist against Toronto, don't take him. In fact, I'm dropping him to steer clear. Don't take him. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea. That's a trap. John Gallagher, I'm not sure where to put him. It's maybe he's in between and fun punt. I think I'm gonna say I think he's another player that he was red hot last year. His BPs this year are not as good as you would think they are gonna as you think they would be. If you want to take a flyer on Austin defense, maybe just stick Stuver as your bench keeper. I would be maybe a little bit wary of Gallagher, but he's not miles off from the fun punt category. DeAndre Yedlin, he's somewhere in between good option and maybe fun punt. He's another player who, since moving to Cincinnati, his BPs aren't as progressive as you'd maybe want a wingbacks to be. They have been using him. He's been getting high up the field as has Oriano on the left side of the field. I think I'll put him in good option. I think he's a good option. Not a great option, maybe for sure on the lower end of good option, but Cincinnati's home defense, what else can you say? Thiago Martins, actually, this may be the most random player I have in here this weekend. I think I'm going to put him in fun punt. Is he budget friendly? Maybe it would make more sense for him to be in budget friendly. And I'll explain myself in a second, because I know it doesn't make a lot of sense. I'll stick him. I'll keep him in fun punt. Okay, here's why I popped him in here. I'll tell you, I'm not taking this week. No chance. I am, unless they lose like 5-0 to Atlanta or something, I'm going to take him next week. At home against New England. He's flown under the radar because New York's defense has been so leaky. His bonus points are great. They're good. They're super, super solid. He's not super expensive. He's a fun differential. He's owned by 1 point. I'm surprised it's even 1.01. Probably not this week, but next week I'm gonna be on the Thiago Martins hype train. I think if you want to try a week early as a bench play, go for it. In fact, I probably should just put him in I just have him in here to say I think next week he's a good option. Jere, I think Jurinen, the Finnish player from Charlotte, one of their outside backs. I think maybe budget friendly. Isn't he I think he's like 6.4? I want to say he is. I'm on the money. 6.4. Sure, budget friendly. If you really are low on New England, which is totally fair, I think that's a fun play. He gets up the field a lot. He's got some decent BPs. Take a shot there if you want. Maybe he's more. Whatever. Take a shot there if you want. Noah Cobb, 100% budget friendly. He's like 4.8 at maximum. If you think Atlanta are going to keep the clean sheet against New York City, and you don't have any cash for another defender, why not? Why not? He's cheap. Marino Hinestroza, I think, is a fun punt. If he starts, of course, that is. This is mostly based off, I haven't really seen him play a lot. He started one other game this year, was not very good. In midweek, in the CCL game, he was great. Super aggressive, exciting, playing way high up the wing. If he plays in that same spot, he's pretty much OOP. Why not? If he starts, why not? Sebastian Driussi, I think is a good option. Maybe a fun punt. Probably on the good option side. I think he's always more or less scored against San Jose. I think that Austin are a little bit better than the stats say they are, and that popular opinion dictates. I don't know why I think that, but I don't think they're a spoon contender. I don't. I think they're a little bit better than that. And I think Driussi is a decent option. He did some good BPs last week. He had a couple opportunities where he could have even scored a goal at home against a really poor, struggling, and depleted San Jose side. Good option. Good option. Luciano Acosta, probably S tier, maybe good option. He's a little pricey, I guess, for some of his output recently, and Cincinnati are not a good team on the attack. They're just not. As Baird and Boupendza improve, then Acosta's bonus points will improve, or maybe at least get back to where they were at the start of the year. But he's probably still an S tier option. I mean, it's Acosta at home. What else are you going to say about it? Ryan Gauld, I think, is a good option. Maybe for the price, he's only like 8.4, that would put him in S tier. You've got a good shot here at the clean sheet bonus point as well. He got a little bit more hot last week. Ryan Gauld was a guy who I thought coming into this year with the point system change was going to be a monster. What just happened? I thought he was going to be... Oh, no! Okay, let me put these back real quick while I talk. I thought Ryan Gauld was going to just be like a monster. It hasn't happened. He's been off the ball way more than I thought he was going to be. Vancouver have kind of switched it up and messed around with what they're doing. So I think I captained him week 2. Obviously that didn't work. So he's been disappointing up until last week. I don't know if he did a little bit better because Brian White was hurt. I don't think so. But you know, we'll see. What else to say about Ryan Gauld? I think he's still probably, maybe for the price, he's an S tier option. Maybe that's what's fair. But I don't know. We'll see. What did I put? I had Albin. Okay, let's keep going with what I was talking about. Evander, I think, it's probably a good option this week. So the way that the game week is set up, everybody needs to have one midfielder or attacker from either SKC, Seattle, Montreal, or Portland. Because of, obviously, the way the scrubs work, even if you put all your defenders in, you still obviously have to have 3 defenders play, even if you scrub 3. Like, no matter what, you're going to have a mid or forward off your bench who couldn't go in unless you start an SKC or, a late game mid or forward from these games. So you kind of have to have a guy, mid or forward, from one of these 4 teams, just in case one player on your bench doesn't hit, right? So that's going to probably elevate them in the tier ranking a little bit. I mean, Evander's been amazing, though, the last few weeks. I mean, he's borderline, we're talking like MVP form recently. SKC can be a tough place to play. LA Galaxy didn't really find that to be true, but Portland can be dangerous. I think Evander's a good option. Very, very good option this week. What did I have John Gallagher in? Was he That may be right. I don't know if I had Nostroza in Fun Pump, but I'm going to put him in budget friendly because he is cheap. Okay, Acosta, S tier. All right, let's talk Hani Mukhtar. In Discord the other day, I took some heat for taking Mukhtar. I'm not gonna lie, that has shook my confidence in him a little bit. It just, whether you want Mukhtar this week or not, depends on how many El Trafico mids or forwards you want to take, and how afraid of Philadelphia you are. I'm not as scared as Philly as it seems like a lot of people are. I'm probably just going to put him in just because I do think that kind of makes sense. I have a little bit... I just realized I misspelled it, so it's Handy Mukhtar. I think I'm a little bit higher on Mukhtar's chances this week than most people, but, logically, it's probably fair just to put him in Ricky Pooch, I think, is a good option. He leads the league in touches. He has, the highest floor, probably out of anybody, for bonus points. But in the big point scenarios, we're talking the goals, the assists, where it really, really counts for like an S tier option. He's never really there because he's playing a little bit more on the left, and all the traffic is going up the right flank with Paintsil. So I think I'm gonna put him in. I don't know. Maybe he should. Maybe Pooch should just perpetually be S tier. I've taken him every week. Um, I'll probably just put him in S. He almost this week maybe to me feels a little bit closer to good option, but I'm gonna stick him in S. I guess his floor is just so high. I mean, what can you do? He is also certainly like a big game player, and like he's always up for El Tráfico. I mean, he cares more than anybody on that field about winning. Carlos Hill, I think, is a trap this week. I will say Carlos Hill is the master of punishing you for not putting him in his team. That being said, New England are really bad. Really, really bad, and he is really expensive, and I think there are just a lot of really good mid options this week. Charlotte are good. Charlotte are really good, and I think Caleb Porter just fired them all up by talking trash. I think Carlos Hill is a little bit of a trap this week. I would wait. I'm probably not going to take Hill again until he does something. Like puts up, 8, 9 points. I don't think that happens this weekend. Paintsil, I think, is S tier. I think he's an S tier option. I just can picture him so clearly shredding the flanks of that LAFC defense. He's going to get, I think, a lot of action. I don't think Campos or whoever it is out there is going to be able to handle him. I really don't. There are always goals in Tráfico, and Paintsil is going to get a lot of touches. Christian Espinoza, I think, is a fun punt. Austin's defense, is very questionable at best. SJ are questionable at best, but Espinoza gets a lot of action. He's a fun punt. Eduardo Atuesta, I think, is a good option. He's on free kicks. He splits corners. He had a very good week last week against Colorado. Mainly, I think, a little bit earlier in the game, towards the back half and before the red card even. He wasn't really as involved as you would maybe want a player as you'd want him to be. But he's still a very good option. Very, very good option. There's always stuff happening in El Tráfico, so I think he's a good option. I wouldn't quite put him S. Diego Luna, fun punt, probably. Probably budget friendly. He's only like 7.1. He came off the bench last week. I guarantee he will start this week. He was very involved, looked really good, got the assist, and I think Chicho is on fire right now. I think Luna is a very fun punt. Very fun punt, and budget friendly. George Mihailovic, definitely budget friendly. Only 6.9. It doesn't really matter what he does this week. He will get a price rise. Depending on how tore up, tired you think Miami's going to be, could be a really good pick. Getting a lot of action while Connor Ronan is out. Very, very budget-friendly option. Albert Rusnak, he could go in a number of these categories. He is very budget-friendly right now. I think he's 6.8. Very budget-friendly. He's kind of a fun punt. Just coming back from injury, Seattle's attack looked a lot better with him in it last week, even if I think with the way the rain was in that game, it's hard to get a read on what was really going on, or the way the pitch was. He's a good option. He could be a borderline S tier because you have to take a Seattle, SKC, Portland, or Montreal attacker or defender. And as far as those options go, he's pretty good. Would I say he's better than Evander, though? No. Actually, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't. I'll put him in budget friendly. But we'll see. Thiago Almada. I'm not really sure where to put him, to be honest with you. Maybe I don't really think a lot of people are considering him this week. He is, his price has gotten up a little bit. It's an away game. There's no GG. And he's been playing a little bit deeper this year. I actually kind of like that. And I think he's also gotten the late arriving at the box, chances. He looked really good last week. But it is not the Thiago Almada show anymore. He's part of the choir now. It's a team effort, and all the pieces in Atlanta's team are firing. Maybe except for Silva, but Silva also not playing this weekend. But I would say maybe he's not the guy anymore. He's part of it, big part of it, but he's not like the be all end all. I think maybe for his price and just for it's an away game, I'll stick him in. He's bored maybe. I don't know. You almost can't call Amada a fun punt. I only would just because not really anybody's taking him. I'll just stick him in eh. Mathieu Chouanier, Chouanier, is that right? I think this actually maybe the most random player I have in here. He's tied with Thiago Martins. I don't know why I put him in here. He's budget friendly. He's dirt cheap. He's in like 5.8, maybe 6.4, somewhere in there. Seattle are going forward pretty bad. I mean, they're about as bad as it gets offensively. Montreal are good too. It's not like they're world beaters, but they're good. They're good. They're in the middle of their starting up the Lorne Courtois project. It's going well. Chouanier's got some decent BPs. He's really cheap. Why not? Jamal TRA is for sure budget friendly. Maybe fun punt. He did not do much in his start against Toronto. Last week, he came off the bench, shot out of a cannon to terrorize Chicago for the last 30 minutes of that game. Looked great. Very fast player. Holy cow. Athletic as all get out. Very budget friendly. He's like 4.8, I want to say. Pretty sure he's like 4.8. Why not? Why not? Luis Suarez, he's in between and steer clear. I think I might stick him in I don't know. If he doesn't start, as a rule, I don't take players who don't start. Even like, we're going to get to the point, maybe even this weekend, where it's like, are you going to take Messi, even if he's only playing 30 minutes? My answer is no. But, we'll see. I don't think he starts this weekend. He played the full 90. I'm probably going to put him in steer clear, which means he's going to come off the bench and score 2 goals in a 20-minute cameo. But I wouldn't do it this weekend. GG's hurt, so obviously he's in steer clear. He won't be playing this weekend at all. Julian Carranza. This is a weird one. I think I'm going to stick him in I've seen some people talk about him a little bit as maybe a kind of a fun punt. I think there's a lot of better options. And I think if you're so high on Philly that you're taking Carranza this week, I think you're a little too high on Philly. I think it's just a little bit too much. Gabriel Peck is a great budget option. He's like 7.1, 7.2 now. Good pick. Good pick. He's going to probably get a lot of action. I don't think as much as Paintsel, but we'll see. Had a great week last week. We'll hopefully have a good week this week as well. Willie Agada, I'm not sure. He's probably in between good option, fun punt. With, your players that your 1 mid or forward that you are required to take from the late games. He's a great pick for those. Maybe budget friendly. He's cheap, right? Album budget friendly. He's only like 7.2, I think. The last couple weeks where he started, he has shot the ball an incredible amount of times. He just shoots so much, which is great for BPs. Done really good on the key passes. He's had a goal and an assist as well. Got subbed off a little bit early for Pulido. I would like to see them start together. I feel like Willie Agada should be starting for SKC. He's been really good. Very dangerous. Great option. Dejan Joveljic. So my question with Joveljic isn't about the injury to his groin or whatever. He starts this weekend, I think, for sure. I don't know if I think he's a big game player. I mean, this El Tráfico game is going to be big. And he's going to get chances. He is. He's been great this year on a good XG, though. It's not like he's, creating a lot of stuff. It's not his job anyway, but he's made the most of most of his opportunities. But I will say, last year, he was terrible. Terrible. Been great so far this year. He's probably my pick for, most improved comeback player, whatever. But when it comes to this, a game like this with this much pressure, if it's a pen and he steps up, do you think he's going to make it? With Lloris in goal, probably. But still, I don't know if I think he's a big game player. I'm not sure how he deals with the pressure. We will have to see. I think I might put him as low as but I could be swayed to think he's a good option. But I'm just not sure. Just not sure. Christian Benteke. So Benteke is in a similar-ish boat to Joveljic, in that he's getting a lot of opportunities. His XG is crazy high. He's not been clinical this year at all. He's getting so many chances, and he's honestly squandered a lot of them. His BP floor is great. His BP floor is really good. Just because he gets the SGS, he shoots enough every game. He gets the chances, but he's really not putting them away right now. Like, he is really not. I still think he's a good option just because of his floor. As far as forwards go, he's got one of the best floors of anybody right now. So probably a good option. Taimo Pukki, I would probably steer clear. I don't know if anybody's really taken him this week, but he is crazy goal dependent. He's maybe got like 1, 2 maximum key passes, but bonus points. I don't. If not, I don't. Maybe he's got a shooting 1 or 2, but yeah, there's no BPs or almost none. I wouldn't take him. I wouldn't do it. He's just too goal dependent, and his minutes are bad too. He gets subbed off at the hour mark almost every game. Brian White, I would maybe just put him in for this week. He is another player who's very goal dependent. But when Brian White gets hot, you do want to take him. But he's coming back from the injury. I'm not even sure if he's going to, if he does play this week, I would guess maybe limited minutes. I don't know, maybe steer clear. I'm just not sure about the minutes. It's kind of I think, just with the injury concerns. And the BPs aren't great. There's better options. Leo Campagna, I think maybe I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't start this weekend. I really don't. But I think there is a world where he doesn't. I bet he starts, but I think it's a little bit of a trap. I don't really see the reason to be very high on Miami right now. I know their XG is really good. I think it's maybe the best in the entire league. But I don't know. It just feels off to me. It feels a little iffy. I wouldn't do it. I think he's a trap. So this is the tier list, kind of where I've looked at a lot of players I've looked at, considered, and where I've kind of fallen on them. Let's go ahead and get into making my team. So in goal, my fallback keeper, safest bet is Seattle. So I'm sticking Stephen Frey in goal. Defenders, my ride or die, Brooks Lennon. I experimented with having him on the bench, but ultimately I just don't know why I would. I think he's going to get like 4 at minimum, no matter what. No matter what. So I just don't know I wouldn't start him. Other fallback defender, stick with Seattle. I'm rolling with Alex Roldan. Knew he wasn't on the tier list, but I do think he's a good pick too. As for the other guys, I think I've got it set up right now just to have the scrubs in here. So you got Freeman and Halliday. Let's get on to the mids. I'm taking Driussi this week. I like the chances of him doing something. What's his ownership? Good differential too. Only 4.45. I have got Lucio Acosta. I think there's great potential for a lot of BP's points there. I've got Ryan Gauld. Also great potential for points. And then I've got, as the player I picked from the late games as my guy, probably going with Evander. His BPs are great. He's super dangerous. I didn't really want to sacrifice a forward on going with Willie Agala. I don't think Rusnak's the worst idea, but I think I like Evander's potential just a little bit more. As for my forwards, was Denny Bouanga in my tier list? I swear I put him there. I swear he was in there. I feel like he was the first name I typed. Okay, Bouanga is S tier, by the way. I swear I put him in there. I don't know what happened. Bouanga is S tier, by the way. He's locked in. He's got great floor for points, of course. Good potential for goals and assists, of course. I'm a little bit worried because he is going to go up against Mickey Yamane, the LA Galaxy right back, who is a very good defensively minded fullback. That's going to be a great battle to watch. I think Bouanga is going to get the best of it enough to do some stuff, but I am a little bit worried that the game ends and the story is like, wow, Yamane locked down Bouanga. But hopefully not. And then was Arango on here too? I swear, I think it deleted some of them. Did it delete all my forwards? No, there's some of them left. I know I put Arango and Bouanga on here. I don't know what happened. Maybe I hit a limit on it or something. Arango also, I think, is S tier. His bonus points are so good. Minnesota, I think, defensively have been a little bit lucky to not concede more. And I think Rondo's a great pick. Maybe more sensibly put on the bench, but I think his floor is pretty good. So I'm taking him. All right. Like I mentioned, a lot of good punting options this week. I kind of like St. Louis. I don't think there's really hardly anybody else going as hard on St. Louis as I'm about to. But I've got a good feeling about them. They're just such a tough team to play at home. FC Dallas are a very young team. I think they're a very bad team right now. If FC Dallas roll out with a back five, I might reconsider. But if they run the same back four that they ran last week against Austin, there will be goals. Man, and you know what? I just realized another player who wasn't on this tier list I definitely put on the thing. That's very annoying. I'll bring up the guys who didn't go through this somehow in a second. So I really think St. Louis have a good chance to make some stuff happen. I think there's a world where St. Louis win 3 or 4-0, to be honest with you. FC Dallas last week against Austin, that was the worst defensive performance I've seen this year from anybody not named Philadelphia against Pachuca. They were terrible. So I like Berkey, and they weren't good going forward either. I don't really think they're good on either end. St. Louis are just good at home, man. They're just good at home. I like Totland. I've just wanted to take him several other times this year. This feels like the best time to do it, so I'm pulling the trigger on that. As for my other midfielder, it's really between Paintsel, Pooch, or Hani Mukhtar. I think I'm just gonna leave Mukhtar for now. My confidence in him has been shaken. I bet come game time he switches to Pooch or Paintsel, but we'll see. And for my last forward, I'm going all in on St. Louis. I really think that Dallas backline is bad. If Klaus scores a goal, we're talking big points because his BPs have been decent too. If Klaus made it into this thing like he was supposed to, I'd probably put him in fun punt, maybe even good option. His BPs have been decent, and I think he's going to get so much opportunities against this Dallas team. He's kind of probably my biggest punt of the week. Is João Klaus. Only owned by 1.86. I think he's a lot of fun. I think he's a lot of fun. My captain, I had it on Acosta earlier. Probably change it to Bouanga. Just, feels right. So, that is my team. That was the tier list. That was my team last week. That is everything for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like or subscribe or leave me a comment. It does make me feel very good. Making these videos is not super easy. It's a little bit time consuming, if anything else, but I do really like it. But any acknowledgement for that does make me feel very good. I appreciate if you've watched this point or listened. Best of luck to your team, everybody's team as well. I hope the fantasy gods bless your teams with good bonus points, with goals. Best of luck to everybody, and I will talk to y'all next week.